friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy on this Tuesday, December 13th. We have been live for 13 days in a row. That is because we are going live every single day for December on this channel because the holidays are trash for some of us. And for those of us who they aren't trash, then you can help spread that joy to us. Let us know what's going on in your life. Hopefully, you are surviving, thriving even during this time. But I know that the holidays can be really lonely for some. Me, myself, and I will be here all holiday season. I don't go home. I don't see anybody. It's just going to be me, which is fine. But I know for those of you guys who feel that way too, sometimes it's nice to just be here with people. So, anyway, today I wanted to focus on Avatar. No spoilers, obviously, because people haven't been able to see it yet. And I was able to see it last night. But I'm going to talk a little bit about Avatar, what critics are saying, what Rotten Tomatoes is saying, what I thought about the movie. And I want to hear what your guys' questions are. Of course, if it's a spoiler related question, I simply cannot answer it. But I also want to know who's going to see the movie opening night on Thursday. We've waited 13 years for this movie. And it's finally time to talk about it. So Streamlabs in, get in your questions, comments, concerns. I won't be here that long today because I have more work to do. And then I get to watch the Celtics. I've got my Celtics shirt on right now. But anyway, the Celtics are so much fun to watch. Last night, during Avatar, I was not able to watch the Celtics game, which is probably for the better. But I was also not able to watch the Patriots game, which was not for the better. The game was good, but I wish I was able to watch it. Anyway, could I have been more confusing there? I don't think so. So, what's going on with you guys? How is everybody on this December 13th? Please let me know. I'm going to be doing my makeup during this show, which I feel like I've been doing a lot more recently. Actually, usually I do my skincare routine during the show. How's it looking? I feel like no matter what I do, until I decide to fold and get Botox, which I have not done yet, no shame in that game, but it just hasn't been for me yet. I just can't help but have these like wrinkle moments. No matter how much retinol or whatever I'm using, whatever. Wrinkles are not a bad thing. The only reason I try to not form them is because my face is part of my fucking job. And I do not want to age myself out of certain roles. Although it seems like that might be what's got to happen. Okay, so what's going on with you guys? A lot of people seem to have COVID right now. I feel you guys have had it twice. I am upping my zinc and vitamin C intake. I've been taking Zicam as a preventative measure. I had COVID twice in the last year, as you guys know, so I'm really hoping that I don't get it again this season, but I have an autoimmune disease, which means that I'm immunocompromised, which means that it's very likely impossible that the vaccine just does not build antibodies in me the same way, nor does having COVID multiple times. So it is what it is. You guys, sorry that I'm jumbling. Can't find the makeup brush that I want to use, so we'll just use two different brushes instead. I haven't been doing much shimmer recently, except for on my brow bone and cheekbones, but not on my eyelids. I don't know why that is. And also, I don't know that many of you give a fuck about that, but I said it anyway. For the people who clicked on this video being like, Avatar review, and then we're like, who is this bitch? And why is she talking about her makeup and what she did in the last day? Welcome to the show. That's just the way that it goes. So, okay. Again, Streamlabs in. Who's going to be our first Streamlabser of the day? Could it be you? Could it be you? You get a Streamlabs. You get a Streamlabs. All of that and more. Okay, so I saw Avatar. I went with Dorina and Steph. I went and saw it at the um the this really nice theater. I forget what it exactly is called, where the seats kind of shake and the seats recline, and it was very cozy, comfy. And we saw it in 3D. Now, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I'm not that big of a fan of 3D movies. Something about the 3D glasses, I can't help but be distracted by the sides of them the whole time. It just like doesn't really fucking work for me. Now, I know that people are saying this movie was meant to be seen in 3D. You have to see it in 3D. It's not the same if you don't see it in 3D. As somebody who saw it in 3D, I don't know that I feel that way. It the movie, I'll get to my thoughts on the movie, but I feel like this movie is a visual masterpiece, no matter what way you see it in. If you love 3D, then do that. And if you don't love 3D, I don't know that you need it. So the 3D was the glasses were kind of, especially because it was on the last seat on the edge, you can kind of like see this part out of the glasses, and I kept adjusting, adjusting, adjusting. And I don't love that. I went in a completely full theater, and this was I think the third press screening they've had in LA. We were not able to go to the other two for various reasons. So that was interesting that it was this full for the third one. Not very surprising considering this is Avatar, and Avatar is the first one is, if you're not adjusting for inflation, is the highest grossing movie that we've ever had. That movie made well over $2 billion. It is a James Cameron masterpiece. I rewatched it recently. I think that uh, it parts of it really hold up well. Parts of it are the story. You just kind of have to be like, I'm just gonna decide to like this because I don't really want to watch another white savior fucking bullshit movie, but this movie is a visual masterpiece. Like I said, the first one and the second one. So you just kind of have to suck it up. And so rewatching it was fun, but if you think too much about it, you're like, this story is all of the other stories yet again. So going into this one, I was like, Rox, no matter what, like, just cut it some slack in terms of this movie. There are going to be good storylines. There are going to be some good storylines, some storylines you don't love, but just watch the fucking movie. And I felt like everybody in my audience was really doing that, just watching the movie. It seemed to do pretty well in the audience that I was in. So you sit down, and the energy in the room is pretty high because this is a fucking Avatar movie. Again, people are stoked on this. It's like going to see a Marvel or DC or Star Wars movie. People are like anticipating it in that type of way, which is interesting. So the second the movie starts, I'm like, whoa. And just kind of forgot about everything other than the fact that I'm watching Avatar movie right now. From start to finish, obviously, the movie looks fucking sick. I mean, no part of the movie doesn't look incredible. Every corner, every detail. It didn't run a second too long for me, and this was a 3 hour and 10-minute movie. And so that's interesting because going into it, I was like, 3 hours and 10 minutes. The fuck are we gonna do for 3 hours and 10 minutes? It didn't feel like that. I'm somebody, as you guys know, who watches a ton of television. I'm obsessed with television. And I sit down and binge a season of a show all the time. I binged Dead to Me recently. That's about the same length as this. If you're watching a show that's like 30-minute episodes that has 8 episodes, 4 hours. I mean, if you're watching something with 6 episodes, any of the Disney Plus shows, they're all in that like 3-4 hour range. So it kind of reminded me of binging a show. And the structure of it actually kind of reminded me of binging a show too. There was a ton of different characters in this movie and a lot of different side stories. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I liked a lot of the new characters. A lot of the new characters really worked for me. I think that you guys are going to feel the same way, where some of them really work for you. And then there was one new character that didn't work as well for me. There are a couple that were like, but there was one that I was like, I don't really get what happened with this character. Uh, and again, like, of all the characters, for there to be one that I was like, that's fine. And maybe some people end up really liking this character. I'm curious to see people's thoughts on that. I love that this is the way of the water. It's very different than the first one visually because of the fact that it's the way of the water, and the way that they made everything water related look was like the bee's knees, man. I mean, you just watching it thinking, how do I get here? How do I go here? My life would be just simply the best if I could be part of the way of water. Uh, Man, it looks so cool. Also, from the trailer, you guys know about the whales. I am obsessed with whales, as is Steph Sabra. So I'm calling them whales for the purposes of the trailer, but I love anything to do with like water creatures. I don't really believe in astrology too much. Actually, I don't believe in astrology at all. But I am a Cancer, which makes me a water sign. And ever since I was a little kid, who knows if that has to do with that or what? But I've always been a big fan of the water. Like my mom used to say, I was a little fish. When we would go to the ocean, they couldn't pull me out of the water. I just loved being in the water. And so watching this was like, whoa, the way of water. And so if you're a big fan of water creatures, and different kinds of visuals in the first one, I think you're just going to be in absolute awe with the way that this was created. So a lot of people going around saying that this movie is the best of the year. I don't know that I can consider it the best of the year, just considering the actual story. Like to me, more than visuals, more than score, more than direction, more than performance, more than anything else, the thing that I choose best picture of the year based on is the story. And so for me, truly that the best story of the year is Marcel the Shell. I really think that that is the best picture of the year. Now, I don't think that that would even be nominated for best picture, and the Globes it's nominated for best animated, which I think is going to be a challenging category for that to be in. But yeah, so because of that, I don't think that this is the best picture, but it definitely is one of the most unbelievable pictures of the year. Definitely one of the most jaw-dropping, and something good about it is that I would definitely go see this again in theaters, which is cool because I feel like usually I probably won't go do it, but I would if somebody asked me to. And usually if the story isn't strong, you don't wanna do that even if the visuals are strong. So I felt like the story on this was definitely strong enough. What questions do you guys have? Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer before we get to some other people's thoughts on this movie. It currently right now the embargo came up today. So currently, as we speak, the tomato meter reads an 84%, which is lower, frankly, than I thought it would be. It's lower than I thought it would be because despite what you think about this movie in terms of like story or how you felt about the first one, there's just some way worse movies that sit significantly higher. The first Avatar got an 82% on the tomato meter. I feel like it deserves to be even higher than that, truly, because of just like the visual feat of all of this, how long it took, and just how beautiful. They're creating a whole world in a way that no DC or Marvel movie does. They create these beautiful places, but it's not like Pandora, man. It's not it's not the same. Let's see what some people are saying in their Rotten Tomatoes reviews. One of the people who gave it rotten with a 1 out of 4, gosh, I hate to see it. I don't understand that, said, on more than one occasion, we're told that the way of water has no beginning and no end. No kidding. Um, oh my God, that feels like the most pretentious review. Somebody who gave it 4 out of 5 said plot wise, the movie is treading water, but that's fine because the water's lovely. I feel like that's perfect. Totally. There's like a lot of different stories, but that's fine because it's fucking great to look at and be in. Okay. We've got a 2 out of 4. So rotten from the Seattle Times. Like the original, it's Dances with Wolves in outer space, only dumber. How critics are just so brutal, man. Like, I don't get how you could see this movie, walk away, and be like, rotten. Like, are you fucking for real? That just doesn't make sense to me. If you go to this movie and you think this is a rotten movie, I don't think you understand movies. I know that's bitchy to say, but I just truly, I don't get that. I don't get that. That makes no fucking sense. A lot of my friends went to the premiere last night. They looked fucking amazing. Uh, I was not that cool. Wish I was, but I'm not. Let's see what's going on. Scott Menzel said on Twitter, the way that the water gets in the best of the story and dialogue are my two biggest issues with Avatar: The Way of Water, an overlong and repetitive visual spectacle that, despite all of its flaws, still demands to be seen on the biggest screen possible. People be really strict on their stuff. I don't fully understand. William Bibiani said Avatar Way of Water is better than the original. For the record, I don't think that's saying much, but there are elements of this new film I very much enjoyed. How could people say it being the original that's not saying much? That's just crazy to me. It's crazy. The wow, okay. People are not too kind. Liam Crowley says "The Way of the Water is everything James Cameron says it is, and and dare I say more." That's how I felt. I felt like it really was exactly what if you liked Avatar, I feel like this is what you want it to be. Steph Sabra was sobbing afterwards. John Flickinger says, looking at Avatar the Way of Water for 3 hours, I can now see why it took so long and why it cost so much. James Cameron was allowed to bring his wet dream to reality. I mean that in a respectful way. Markia said, can't believe I'm saying this, but Avatar the Way of the Water just healed some of my seasonal depression. Returning home to Pandora and living within the new part of it gives such an emotional reset. Visually stunning, incredible dynamics and acting. LOL, I wish the movie was even longer. I feel that. Steph tweeted and said, obviously, I loved Avatar the Way of Water. More obviously, I loved the whale creatures. Totally. Ash Crossan said, Avatar The Way of the Water is so stunning and immersive in ways I couldn't prepare for. I'm still wiping away tears. It's a masterpiece. I did tear up at points, which is interesting. DJ Wildred said, just watch Avatar The Way of Water. Absolutely better than the original. It's narratively and thematically tighter. The new characters are engaging. I like it way more across the board, except for one thing. The high frame rate does not work in my opinion. I know what he means. It was at first a little distracting. I don't usually pick up on frame rates, but it was making me a little dizzy. And it looked like very video game like, but then I got used to it. He said, at best, it makes the movie look like the most expensive video game cutscene ever. At worst, it's like the glorified motion smoothing. I never found that it made the movie more immersive. Interesting. I totally was fine with that. Wendy Lizani said Avatar The Way of Water is a visual masterpiece. Each scene gets more and more impressive, especially the underwater ones. Do not expect to cry. Did not expect to cry in the third act, and they got me good. Must see it in 3D. I don't know if you must see it in 3D. Fernandez said, aside from being obviously beautiful, Avatar: The Way of Water was so intense. I think I yelled fuck multiple times during the fight scene. Cameron really was like, fuck y'all, we're doing this. This is my official review. Yeah, he really was like, we doing this. Somebody asked me, did I see Koi? No. What did Koi say? I'm curious. Koi, did he not like it or did he like it? It would be weird if he didn't, right? Okay, keep scrolling. Wow, Koi tweets so fucking many times a day. I can't even find his. He says the review's coming tomorrow. Okay, somebody tell me what he said. Because one of you was like, did you see Koi's? And then gave some kind of face. Let's go into the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. The first Streamlab of the day, Redford Reddington said Avatar was mostly forgettable and only remembered for its 3D visuals, expecting the same with the sequel. I don't think that it's forgettable at all. I think it's just so memorable, like as a movie. Mike Joyce in the Streamlabs, big support. Thank you. Mike Joyce says, I'm so excited for Avatar 2, seeing it in 3D IMAX on Friday. It'll be the first 3D movie I've seen in years. I think I read a review that the whales talk. Is that true? Here's what I can say about that. The whales don't like open their mouths and say like, hello, mate. You know, that's not the kind of whale talking. Because I saw some people tweeting about that, and I was like, that's so not what happens. Ash in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer says, I'm looking forward to watching Avatar: The Way of Water. Not looking forward to the Christmas crunch at work. What's the Christmas crunch? There's like 10 unfinished projects that our managers have promised by the end of the year. So now the whole team gets to work extra. Ooh, sorry, my dude. That sucks. I'm really, really sorry about that. Christmas crunch. It's crunch time for Christmas. It sounds like a Christmas crunch sounds like a cereal and it sounds kind of delicious. Although I don't love the taste of peppermint, and if there was a Christmas crunch, it certainly would have peppermint in it. What's your guys' favorite holiday drink? What do you drink when it gets a little colder out? It's holiday season. What's your drink of choice? This is not my holiday drink, but I have been on such a martini tear recently. It is crazy. Why all of a sudden am I loving martinis? I haven't drank vodka drinks in years of my life, and now, like, the thought of vodka makes me feel bleh, but a vodka martini is just where it's at. Not a fucking gin martini, a vodka martini. Oh boy, do I love a vodka martini these days. It's just so good. Jake says Bud Light. Jake, what the fuck? All right, everybody, only here a very short time longer. I only wanted to talk about Avatar today, really, with you guys. So let me know if you have any final questions about the movie, when you're seeing it, how you feel about it. I just feel like critics sometimes, this is why I'll never consider myself a critic. I'm not a critic. I might go to these um, critic screenings because I talk about them, but like the fact that you could go see a movie like this, you could go to the movies and see something like this, which is like, I don't even fucking understand how they make this. Like, it makes no goddamn sense to me how they could make something like Avatar. The way that it looks, the way people move, the way that like things shift together, just the whole fucking thing. How you could walk out of this and be like, meh, 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 fuck this movie. It's a rotten movie. I just don't get it. I don't get people. I don't get critics sometimes. And I understand that's the point of critics. They tell people how to spend their money and they try to save people from seeing stinkers. And they are supposed to be harsher on things than non-critics, I guess. But it's just like not in my nature. You look at something like this and you see it, and like nobody would ever look at this and be like, "Wow, that didn't take a lot of time or money." Like, it looks fucking expensive. It looks time consuming. It looks fucking sick. And the story is engaging enough, and more, definitely more engaging than the first Avatar. So I just don't understand. You see this movie and then you walk out and you're like, fuck this movie. And this was not that good. And it was rotten. And then you give like other movies that I'm like, what the fuck? Just because it's like super heady and like really pretentious, and that gets fucking great reviews. So strange. I genuinely don't understand the kind of person who walks out of, you might walk out of this movie and be like, all right, that was really pretty, and that might be all you feel. You might not feel connected to the characters, you might not cry, you might not have the same reaction that some other people do. That I totally get. But walking out of this movie and being like, fuck this shit. What? What what you talking about? What are you guys talking about? All right, my loves. Who's rooting for the Celtics tonight? If you're rooting for me, you're rooting for the Celtics. That's just the way that it works. That's the way of water. That's the way of basketball. Yo, my basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Keep it so real on the microphone. My favorite players take it to the hoop. My favorite play is the alley oop. I like the pick and roll. I like the give and go. It's basketball. Bow wow, we playing basketball. Just let me have that one, guys. Just let me have that. Cool. I wasn't bored for a single second of all of Avatar. I don't think I could hope for much more than that. Anyway, that's about it. That's about all. So I am getting out of here, and I have a lot of love for you guys. Stay safe, stay sane. Put down the toilet seat and lid. Send in Streamlabs. If you are watching this after the fact, I'll read them the first minute that I can for the next show. Don't trump the Holocaust. Justice for all the people who lost their lives due to excessive force. My body, my choice. Wherever you are on the rainbow, we love you. We stand with the women of Iran. Golden sparkles for our one and only Zen Glenn. We love you. We're thinking about you. We're wishing you a safe recovery. I hear that you are not able to like watch things like this right now. And that is not the whole purpose of me saying this. It's just to put the good energy into the universe. So everybody, please put those good thoughts out for Glenn. If you pray, pray. If you don't, just put out good energy. You guys know I'm not much of a believer, but I definitely think that there's something to a collective all putting their minds and energy in one place. All right, my loves. I will see you tomorrow for live. First, I'm going to go tape in the morning. I go to tape the big thing, and then I'm going to do an episode of this, hopefully between the girls coming here at 1. So hopefully I'll do an episode of this around 12. and then I will do the World Girls at night. But if I didn't get to this by 1 o'clock, then know that I'll do an episode after the World Girls. So all of that. All right. Much love, my friends. Stay safe, stay sane, and I will see you later.